Well, these beautiful reeds. I haven't made cutting bales for a while. So yesterday I spent an hour on live until the battery died, and then spent another 2.5 hours collecting what I don't know how to measure, but it's a fair amount of them. So today we'll find out how many cutting bales we can get out of these. These are a really neat species. It's three-leafed. I don't know how to describe that. To me, it's like there was a Scottish court sword that was used, and it had a trident, and it was also ultra flexible. It's quite a neat tool. I will be binding these with the ability to come back later and change them. I went with a cotton. It's a biodegradable. And that'll be left with just a simple bunny ears. So later on, if they dry out a little too much. Golden, welcome back. Today we're making cutting bales. I don't think I put anything on the actual heading of what things are going on. And we've got a lot of them to do. It looks like a 34-inch cutting bale will be easy to achieve. 34-inch, of course, long. I'm going to do mostly, I'm thinking 4-inch. Oh, lots of hearts. Thank you, everyone. These smell like cucumbers, like sliced cucumbers. It's really nice. There we go. That's, well, a really bad measurement of how that's going to look, but I'm doing a very specific measurement of as close to 32 inches as 36 inches as possible. And so I don't waste as much as possible. Like the thatchers, when they do the roofs, they've got these wonderful hitter boards that push all of the reeds or staffs back onto the roof. So I can save and use as much of the length as possible. I was supposed to tie this one to that one. It's a good start. It's a good start. I just made a 2-inch cutting bale to hopes of trying the Wolverine claws against them. The issue is once they get too small, there's not the same resistance against, they bend easily. This is a much nicer, it is the same weather as yesterday, but today I get to hide underneath a tree. Yesterday was hot. And then transporting, I'm not complaining. This sounds like complaining, but I'm happy to have shade again. This is much nicer. And using the crambit, all of these were harvested with this tool, with this one action. I'm looking forward to having a proper scythe where that blade can get close to the ground and pull and cut all of these shafts so my hand doesn't have to be pushed all through of the chaff that's on the ground. So that's a fun excuse to have to build a scythe and actually focus on a farming scythe and not a war grade scythe. Can't believe how lucky I am to have an entire field of reeds growing just at the edge of the property. It's an irony in a sense to spend all that time cutting them, collecting them, sorting them, binding them, drying them, soaking them, just to cut them all in the end. The Tibetans have a practice of burn rituals. In some cases, they'll make entire villages out of paper and wood just to celebrate rebirth and burn all of these models down. Or the sand, probably even better, the sand pictures they will produce from this colored sand that's simply placed on the ground. It's all about, I'm not going to say what it's all about, but the point being that it is washed away within an instant. There's something kind of magical in that sense, that all of this work does work towards one timeline, and that timeline only lasts an instant. And then it's gone. And it's back to cleaning them up and preparing them again. Rayon 88, thank you. So I'm just doing, I guess, a reef knot, but it's a bow knot, so I can remove these knots, or more accurately, just if any of these need retightening. And I've found in the past, if you tie them really tight, and you want to have a good strong base to go into your target, just make a mess of everything. Sometimes it's best to loosen that and then tie it around the staff that holds that whole bale in place. Before this is used, it will then be soaked again to give that firmness back, depending on how long it sits to dry. A makivara. Edward. Like it's a cutting mat. It's to be I call it a tatame, but it's not, because the tatame are the woven grass mats that do that work. This is not. Oh, and another excuse to make a new knife. Can we see that? I need a knife that's meant to trim these. Right now I'm using my eel knife. It works well, but it shows how the firmness is for having to cut these. That is going to be a great bale. Oh, there is that. This would be the nice ones. I'm not too sure which school does it, but this is how they place their cutting mats. There's no stake holding them in place. The bale itself, its weight is what holds it, and then you perform your cuts, mostly from seated position. And there's a Korean, a Gumdo school, Gumdo? I apologize. There's a Korean sword school that they will take their reeds and they do a really coarse braid and then roll it. Their mats are enormous. They're gorgeous. The Maynark facts. Hello, Maynark facts? I gotta learn how to read. Yank. Well, hello. So we have got one bale out of, this is how I'm going to deal with the mess today, and I can deal with that off the floor. The great thing is we have so many of these to work with, and this is just the first harvest. This is, I think, 3.5 hours worth of work. Hello, who are we saying hello to? Oh, we've already said hello. I can still hello again. I would like that this, I want enough that I could get through to the next year and cut once a week. That is the goal. Sadly, there's other things still that need to be done. Like the Bowie knife that is sitting indoors that needs to be finished polished. The one side is almost done, but no, I should go do something else first. And I want to keep back and forth with the stock ends, the bottom ends to the top. That's inconvenient. So when I bind the bottom piece, there's a lot of structure to be that base. I'm pulling from both sides, but there's no difference to the reeds. Okay. That feels about right. It's one desk, and I bet the scissors are on top, but I brought extra knives just in case I make that. Maynard, how am I? I am awesome. There's something about this prep to know that in the middle of winter, I can cut bales. So yeah, this is a happy time. How are you? What are you up to right now? I happily get to hang outside, not under the sun, in total fresh air, binding these things away, wondering that if I could build a scythe that had a large enough blade, can I get through one of these? What technique? That's a better way of putting it. Hello, Isabel. Whitney. I knew an Isabel. Whitney. Hello. Yeah, what technique would need to be used? Like the war comma. They had like 12, 13-inch blades. I'm showing it this way because there's a picture of a ninja using his with chain coming off the end, holding the blade upwards, and it was massive. But to be able to cut, as many would say of holding a backhand sword, to be able to cut upwards, that with this tool, it was really interesting that if I tried to go a straight cut as you would a scythe, it was just a waste of energy. But if I followed the curvature of that blade, they practically cut themselves. So I want that same transfer of energy. Alan, hello. I have a lot of respect for you. Oh, thank you. I can see that you love and effort that you put in your craftsmanship, martial arts, and history. Greetings from Italy. Thank you. I sort of like mumbled through that statement. Awesome, because I'm sure everyone can read these statements. I assume so. Thank you. From Italy. Are you practicing martial arts in Italy? Got some great swords from Italy. Oh, I'm getting off topic already. What were rapiers used against? Their own. Like every sword art has their own practiced against. What did they train on? Hello, Cormac Nolan. I love creative people too. Oh yeah, of course, you're a demigod. Yeah. Creative people are crazy, but they're inspiring. Mind you, everyone can be inspiring, but thank you. Ooh, Walter Sanchez. What's up, Walter? You send that package off yet, man? Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah, so Walter has Sai that he needs shipped back to me. And he's going to send them back. That's good, because the Sai that I keep looking at that need finishing. Like, why am I still holding on to those? That's right, I'm waiting for one more. I hope you're doing well, Walter. Walter's a fan. No, because I can tell about Walter. Walter likes flexible tools. He likes a lot of tools, but flexible, I think, are one of his favorites. That or he's just really good with flexible tools. Really depends on how you want to proceed that environment. Flexible tools, that's something that you can have nice tests against. Blocks of ice, plates, pottery. I don't really go to plates. It's terrible, but you can get plates really cheap, especially if you don't actually like how they look. You just set up a bunch of them at a distance to use your meteor hammer or distance tool against. Mind you, do have to buy those plates. For me, I just get to I had to buy the string. That's the only thing. To have to make the string. The greatest loss of this then would be the string. String is so complicated and time consuming. Sorry, late. Don't even worry, Walter. Everyone's got something on their plate, and honestly, I've been kind of busy. Buffalo Bill, Sky Dusk Guy, Buffalo Bill. I'm just gonna nod like I know what's going on. I'm sorry, man. No clue. Yeah, that grappling hook. Walter's got a fun grappling hook. Thank you, Walter. Glad you're showing it off. I do need to make more of those and a video of those grappling hooks. Because it's always talk about climbing hooks, but my climbing, they're not really so much for climbing. They are the fighting hooks. So yesterday it got to the point of collection that when I began, in 5 minutes, I could collect enough to make one of these. And by the end of the day, in 5 minutes, I had enough to make 3 of these. I came up with a much nicer technique that I think will also be refined with a larger scythe. And I think it's got to make a difference. And now, I don't know, I haven't timed on how long this is taking, but I can easily, we've been on for 17 minutes, and this will be my second, so we're looking at 10 minutes per. We'll see if we can get that down by the end, but that's, can only really move so fast. And how is it that when, I'm sure many of us, you work in one space and you count out how many tools you have and you're using all those tools, and then at one moment, you're missing one of those tools. I really hope it's not in one of these bales at this point. But I have a little pair of scissors that are now missing, my little tweezers. Oh, I'm going to put this one in the first one aside, just in case. Well, that's fun. I can reopen these if I have to. Walter, are they meant for fighting? I thought that the grappling hook would make a nasty flexible weapon. Yeah, the grappling hook that you have it's just on the cusp. So yes, you can use those tongs to climb if you were doing like natural surfaces. You're going around trees, you're going around natural objects. But if you look at how they're positioned to the body, if you are applying centrifugal force, those tines line up almost perfectly. By accident, of course. So there's a, where is it? There's a representation somewhere of a fighting, like a fighting, I don't know how to word that. I don't know what the Japanese word is for that fighting grappling hook rope. But it's on a chain, it's 3 feet long, and then there's like a handle ring that it's one you could pull the rope through that handle ring to then bind something else off. But if you looked at the distance of it, it was very similar to you holding a long sword in reach-wise. So more for fighting. Jessica Hawk, anything can be an effective improvised weapon. Yes, and that is... Isn't that the attitude? You can't get lost in all of these tools of what you could get done with them. Because if you lose them and all you have left is a ruler, well, you're going to make the best of that ruler and do what you can. Everything, including your own mind. Your mind is the best one. Oh, I get off topic easily. Thank you, Jessica. Edmund. Really, yes, true. The hidden weapon means so much more, doesn't it? If it's seen, but then isn't that the psychological effect of If it is a hidden tool, it is an unknown. And when the brain, this wonderful organ, first sees that, well, what is it? You naturally gain that fraction of a second because the brain has to process what's going on here. Where if I'm clearly showing you that I have a ruler, you're going to be like, what do I care? But if I'm scared and I'm hiding that ruler, I'm going to get that better psychological advantage. But if then I'm hiding a knife, each one has its own. Oh, this table's handy. This is not elegant, but that looks awesome. And I want to try that technique where it is sitting on the floor and you. I would really like to know where my clippers are, though. I have a metal detector I'll have to put on these things. Okay, so that is down 2. Only that many more to go? I think this is one of those moments that you don't want to know the number. If you were to know the number of what's ahead of you, it would almost seem daunting. But just to think, no, that doesn't count here. I'm too excited for this. There was a marshmallow experiment done on children. It was the simple idea. You can have 1 marshmallow now, and you can enjoy it. Or you can have 2 marshmallows, but you got to wait 3 hours. And the objective was to see how many kids chose which and kind of why. It's a really fun experiment. In the end, it's about that putting off a reward. And sometimes being able to be putting it off is a bigger reward in itself. Walter, it's like Go-Go Yubari from Kill Bill and her mace. Oh, that was a fun tool. I like the idea of a mace, like a medieval European flange mace. Flange mace? Flail. We all know there's a big ball spike, but the fact hers was on such a long chain, the fact that it spun, movies. That doesn't look like water. Theron, it does not. Though I have, like, it clearly says water. And that should be enough, but they're the only bottles I don't break. The plastic's really nice. Okay, in my mind, it's like, I'll take a chug of it, and that, of course, proves that it's water, but I guess that really, in essence, does not. So we're just gonna blow right past that and go, hey, is this of the right size? Yes. I have 1,000 feet of rope. I have 3 bottles of water. I'm down to 3 knives. I should be good. Night Sky, hello. What are your thoughts on chains, ropes as both combat and utility related? That's a great question. Chains and ropes are usually overlooked so highly, which makes them that much more valuable because they kind of act as a secret weapon at that point. But they are so very effective. Go away, Mr. Wasp. The fact that, one, you get that added range, that with this is 32 inches, only if I'm holding it at the handle. And it's great at cutting, but unless I need more than just this distance, I'm in trouble with a rope and a chain. I can not only change that distance from a 3-foot tool right up to a 12-foot tool to keep someone at bay, but there's that ability of creating that essence of timing. I think in that aspect of like a team adversary, someone that kind of slowly manipulates of where those openings can be, really opens up someone else to then bring into that attack. Then you add chain into that if you were to intercept it with any blades, it just wraps around, which on top of that, you've got a weight at the other end that then is just going to wrap and just distribute time, wrapping things up. If you're gaining just seconds, like best case scenario in most fights, milliseconds. You're looking at half a second for an opening to make that entrance. With a chain and rope tool, you can gain actual seconds. Oh, I thought the hummingbird was going to visit. Have you tried making menriki? I would love to see how it wrapped around the branch or something. Oh, yeah, so would I. Menriki, we can't. As Canadians, we are not allowed menriki kusari because it is one of our prohibited tools. Just like the kusurigama with that weighted chain. I can have a leather one that can be practiced with, but the moment it switches to steel, I can't do the meteor hammers. That's why I can't do the throwing stars. So that's really just sad as a blacksmith, because I too would like to see how much, well, the Menriki Kusari, the idea is that is the 10,000 power chain. By adding, we can use the chain weapons, which is great. I take advantage of that. But by adding those two weights, centrifugal force, the power-wise, they're terrifying. And I guess a part of me always wonders, it's like, yeah, but we have healthcare, and that's probably part of it, because they're just stupid scary. So yeah, chain rope weapons, amazing. Gara of the sand. I'm starting to get into using the meteor hammer with a block of wood. That is awesome. Be careful with it. As we just said, they are super dangerous, but I practice with my leather or the tennis ball. It's a fun practice. I think for me specifically, I don't like flexible tools. So I need to practice with them just to get comfortable with that aspect. I like blades. I like something I understand where it's going to be and what it's going to do. With the chain weapons, with flexible tools, you're in control at the moment it goes by the target. But as it comes back around, it's in own chaos. And if I'm not paying attention to now my opponent and my own tool, that's where I get hurt. The real masters understand that not only where it's coming back, they are able to, will take advantage of that, being, well, masters. I'm gonna stick to blades. Who dares say we cannot make things? Yeah, it's true. But in the civilized world, we have to follow rules. And I like the rules, so I'm gonna have to follow suit with all that else that follows. Unless I can get some sort of like diplomatic injunction is made up words, but some sort of like I'm learning and I need to practice with these things, and I'll swear I'll burn them afterwards. Interesting how we can't have star shuriken, but we can have bow shuriken. It is. But if we look at how simple star shuriken can be used, anyone can use them, and the person that gets hurt the most usually is the user because they bounce most terribly. That's the interesting thing about the things that they do ban from us, these small gravity-driven weapons, the Sanban Shuriken, they're all super dangerous to the user and to the people that are around. But if you're just by yourself, yeah, it keeps us safe. Non-edge sharp rope darts for me. Nice. Theron? That rope darts are fun because you've got all that energy just flying through and then adding that little drag that, I call it a cape, but it's not a cape. But it's the fact that that gives you that control. Hats off to you. Theron, rules only matter if you get busted. The arts of Shinobi are just that, avoiding getting caught. Ooh, that is true, but it's the void of getting caught of something that you need to do. In the essence of these things, I don't need to do them. I have a plethora. I could probably forge the rest of my life and not run out of things to have to make. I have to go to Plato here. Plato, at his time, talked against his government. He didn't like what they were standing for at the moment. But when they came time to charge him, to take him away, he told his students, no, they have to. I have to stand for my government. I may disagree with what it's doing, but the fact is we need it, and what it does is bettering the society. We just need to have the growth. I have to stand on that side of Plato. I have to stand on the side that we as a society come together. That went political quick. Guard of the sand or concealed weapons. True, being an American myself, weapon ownership is a line drawn in the sand. Yes, weapon ownership is, it's a big discussion. Just need a lot of respect around those rules, don't we? Ooh. Sharp katana is too expensive. Broken and split steel. Place my reality. It's funny though. You get to the point then when you see that Okay, a weapon is a weapon is a weapon. Earlier in the conversation, we talked about, I've stopped rapping entirely, talked about an improvised weapon is still a weapon. And if you're not really looking for a weapon, but you can make anything a weapon, the drawing in the sand of what is a weapon and what can be kept, well, it kind of becomes irrelevant, doesn't it? If a sword is a sword and it is your weapon, but then it's taken away from you, is it still your sword? Did they destroy you with your sword? Or were you destroyed by your sword? I think at this point, is it Munonori? There's a sword, the life-giving sword and death-dealing sword. It is a fabulous read of the dichotomy of this world and practice. Respect and responsibility. Weak-minded men lose their minds and use weapons for evil. Yes. Yes. That's the issue we fight. All of the rules are never for the intelligent. They're always for those that are still ignorant to the truth. And by enlightening them to the truth is the most expensive and long format ways. By putting rules in place, we set them as something that we need to understand. But it is just that. The strong rarely need to use a weapon to get their point heard. They already know the consequences of what happens. It is those that don't understand the consequences that usually reach to hurt. I am a big fan of this specifically. It's a most perfect topic, that this allows myself as a martial artist, someone that studies the way to defeat another, a way to practice my cutting skills completely aside from what it would be like to cut a human. I don't live anywhere near that timeline. This is the practice. I like this evolution while practicing the full understanding. I found this sword and it has hieroglyphs and kind of looks like a sickle. I don't know what it is. Is it like an old looking sword? Is it like old steel? The Victorian era was an era of people making a lot of really weird weaponry. Antique people will have, I had a stint for a time of antique dealers asking me to look at swords that they'd got thinking they were Japanese or buying them under the understanding they were Japanese. And in that time, I got to see not only a fair amount of replicas, but a lot of really interesting replicas. Things that were meant to look historical, meant to look as if it was from a certain time period, but updated in the modern fashion. Some of these blades took beautiful, antique, what we would call historic blades of great significance, but they were plentiful to them. It's like a dime a dozen. I want to rip that off, put a new guard on it, put a new handle on it, cover it with gold. The times change. Ooh, tatami mats. Yes, a cheap form of tatami mats. Tatami mats truly are bound together so you can have them on the ground, and then you roll them up tightly. And I think there's a significance in how tight those mats are. So I say this is the cheap version because this version is easier to get. And I think it's a level 3 or it's a level 1. I tend to confuse that. But in tamishigiri, there's 3 levels of cuts. That there's the level where it throws off, there's the level it falls off, and then there's the level where it just stays there. When you use a bound grass mat, the percentage of it just staying there is much higher. It's much easier to get that staying there than a tatami mat. So I feel there's a difference, but I got to harvest these. That makes it so worth it. Aussie Guild Smithy. Yo, Elf. Grass is better for your blade too. Yes, grass is so much better. There's so many. Let's see what this looks like on paper. And it's funny, but paper's so bad for an edge of a blade that the grass is, and there's a great resistance to it. I always have this internal conversation about improvised weapons. I find myself arming myself in the most subtle ways, just in case. My hair fastened by particular sharp hair sticks. Like, am I okay? That's like questioning yourself of going into a building and saying that, do I know where all the exits are? I think that's the idea of preparation, that you've looked upon your own self. There's not time. It's like, I have a belt on. That is an improvised tool. That gives me like 32 inches of reach. There's a little weight on the end. Do I have a pencil on me? Yeah, no, I think that's chance favors the prepared mind. I think all of that preparation and questioning and looking, am I ready for it? Then you're wandering around and you look, because you have that mind, that preparation, that understanding. It's like, I got a weird feeling about, you know what, I'm going to do that another day. You start to perceive something further about the world. You keep yourself safe with your intent. Don't wander into a dumb situation going, well, that was silly. I thought this was a dumb idea from the beginning. My mindset is awesome, brother. Thank you. Thank you. We need more of us. We just got to talk about it, right? And have a, like, it is this interaction, this community right now that allows that to come forward. So thank you to everyone. Was thinking about whether chime in or not. Yeah, always chime in. That's the whole point of this. I want to get the stuff done, but it's kind of not more. But I literally have an Indiana Jones hat and bag and get about with the actually carry bundle of rope around in real life. Nice. Preparedness and vigilance is what keeps evil at bay. People think twice if they know they will be met with adversity. So true. They look at how many studies that people that are convicted felons that have reformed and now go to help the populace of what they look for, and most of the time they say to those that are looking around, making eye contact and saying, no, you don't bother with them, they already know what you look like. You look at the people that are looking down, they look at the people that are trying to stay just to themselves. It's this questioning. A foldy grappling hook, yeah, those are really awesome. There's also the little, like, how do you call it, they're threaded grappling hooks. Someone's subbing, thank you. You're awesome. The username Puck Elf, is that in reference to Berserk? Yeah, Puck Elf. We said about a foldy grappling hook. Someone yesterday talked about a foldy scythe. I've often wanted to build, there's a kama bow that was just a bow staff. And with a metal makugi, a metal peg, you could pull up the blade and turn it into a fighting staff. That'd be fun, like a little farming ninja staff. It's a hidden weapon, but it is something definitely farming related and specifically meant for farming. But I'd still like to know that with that scythe, I can cut through one of these bales. Farming ninja. Yeah. The period I enjoy the most is what I call the Shinobi period, from creation of man, human going into those valley areas to succeeding in a land that was considered hostile up into Edo, where they were now recognized and seen, understood as a valuable commodity through their understanding. I like the quiet time. I like the Shugendo. I'd like string that's a little stronger. Yeah, that might have been me. So yeah, farming ninja. I like it. As a farming ninja, I want to make charcoal. I would like to produce charcoal off of this property for the forge. That is an expense, but more so that it's an expense. I would like my own charcoal. Maybe because I'm not willing to make my own steel. Lazy. Midsummer Dream. Midsummer's Dream. Puck Elf is from Midsummer's Dream? I might not have been paying attention. Serrated staff. Oh, fun. I'm working on a serrated sword. Do you know about Japanese geta shoes? I recently made some and I think they're amazing. Got out of the sand? Have you actually? Yes, my Shidoshi had geta, one-tooth geta. Oh, I always wanted to try them, but they were his one-tooth geta. And for balance, good for you. No, I've yet to turn to go down that road. But they're gorgeous, and how that they're created to be the mimic brother of the split wood. So when you place them together, the grain lines up entirely. Good for you, Gara. I admire your training. I should do more. The clay temper. Oh, missed it. Sir, you have no room to call yourself lazy. Give yourself some credit. That is something. Thank you. Thank you. I do not know how to pronounce your name. Yeah, I do give myself a lot of trouble for being lazy. A lot of cases I do. I think I'm quite lazy. I could get so much more done. I took an entire day off last week. And I mean, I sat down like the entire day. Okay, this one definitely has a top to it. It's a little small, but not as nice as this one. Yeah. That's going to be great. To be good enough with the sharp enough, fast enough piece of steel to be able to cut this blade, to cut this bale with this part staying still and this not falling over. That's a goal. That's a goal. Oh, this feels really wrong, but look, it's clean. Keep getting caught in a tree. I did need that. I did need a day off, and now I don't want them. The thing is, I'm excited about what I do. I'm definitely not whining. I wake up early so I can start doing what I want to do. I don't know. It's that or I'm a simpleton. You have a small sword that is called the Husqvarna. I think of a chainsaw. Hello, Scarlet X. Hello back to you. Pocket Elf, forged from chainsaw. Kick ass. That's a great name for a sword forged from chainsaw bits. Shinobi 64 Prime. Hello. And Magelman. Ralph. I'm just going to call you Ralph. I swear, I do read English. Most times I don't think so. This will be number 4, which I can only imagine is going to be, there's more than 40 here. There's got to be more than 40. Conan, hello. Pocket Elf. The family property is being sold. Oh, that's sad. And I have to move 20 years of stuff from old workshop business. There's a bloody house crisis, and that is tough. Yeah, I apologize to be bragging, but that is really tough. Well, good luck with that. Oh, you have to sell a power hammer? Oh, that's really sad. It's not like you're just going to put that in your back pocket and wander off with it going, yeah, I'll just keep that with me. Yeah, moving is, I don't like moving. I've moved enough. How can I now? I've got such an abundance of reeds. I made sure when I was harvesting them, I made sure I was holding the top of the reeds to get as little chaff as possible. And now having it all up here, that was well worth that effort. These are going to be really clean bales. The power hammer is your minion and its name is Roger. Is it possible to invent new melee weapons? One, can we give you a name? How can I pronounce that? Souvenir? I'm going to just call you Souvenir. Yes, why is it not? Because we know of all of the melee weapons we have now. Now we just need to make something that's not one of those. What do we have advantage of? What do we have an abundance of? There's always room for growth. You just got to give it thought. That whole evolution of the spear and the shield. Through all warfare, there's been a spear for thrusting and attack and a shield for defense. And how, as the shield gets stronger, the spear has to change. But there is always that constant. I was going to build a jig. It's going to take more time to build a jig. Just begin. Imagine a shield spear. That's a souvenir. Humans won't evolve with a rock and a stick. It is suspicious. Throw a rock. If it doesn't move, poke it with a stick. Haha, move over, predators. That's so true. And as humans, it's like, hold on. When we poked it with the stick, it started running. I don't know. Let's just chase it. And we just kept chasing it. Oh, geez, it overheated and died. I guess we're meat eaters now. Bing bong. Hello, Austin. Puck Alpha, we got a sharp sticks. I bet you have a lot of sharp sticks. I hope you get to hold on to those. And then we have sticks that shoot others. Yeah, we have. We have a plethora of tools, don't we? And all over the world, how many times we've seen the same tool over and over again with just slightly different variations. I'm a fan of the bladed. I'm a fan of the quiet. I believe it was one samurai of, I don't know if this was Sengoku Jidai before or after. Should really learn that before spouting off. But the samurai, he detested the Yumi. He thought they were cowardly. A bow and arrow made no sound. And how was I supposed to declare myself? He liked the arquebus, the matchlock. It was something of, you knew it was there. I get it. I like the bow because it's silent. But if you don't think silence is the way to go, it's an interesting perspective. I guess on that note, if it's the same weather as yesterday, but for me, it's so much cooler. A hammer is just a fancy rock. Yeah, a fancy rock that lasts longer. Are you a monk? I don't think so. No. But I think in some ways, I'd like to think so, yeah. I have a lot of rules. I live a very specific way. But no, I'm just some dude. But thank you for the question. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a monk. That was going to be a world towards understanding, enlightenment, and seeing the world for what it was. What do you mean I can't eat meat? Ugh. The martial arts has a bigger value there for me. Still the path to enlightenment. You get a lot more tools, and you get to eat as much nutrition as you wish. Though the monks of Mount Hiei, the walking monks, to visit Japan, I don't even know if they'd let some lunatic just be able to walk one of their 3-day paths, but that would be a really fun practice. Peasants and weapons. Thank you, Souvenir. Gar, Steel, thank you. It's funny how it just works out, right? You find what you need. Though next time I want stronger string. I feel like I'm always going to break it. The sun's great, but the glare's getting in such a way that having to look at the string funny. I like this. Flower arrangement and ink meditative painting is also considered a martial art, like women in tea ceremony. I may have left that last one wrong. Yeah, it is. There's a story of this young kid, and he wanted to make a name for himself, and he found out, oh, this village is a great master, undefeated. Yeah, I'm gonna go beat him up. I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna challenge him to a duel. I'm gonna take this old guy out. And he goes and finds this guy, and this guy's in his garden, and he challenges him. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll accept. Do you want tea first? Let's have tea first. And halfway through the tea, the young man bowed and apologized for seeing that there was not one opening in his tea, that he had no chance against him in sword. Yeah, the actual fighting and punching is like just 1% of the physical movement. It is the mind that is responsible, and that mind is active at all times. Musashi stated that your fighting walk should be your regular walk. There should be no difference. It should be yours. This being said to you by a guy that's just and making that somewhat like later Matthew's problem. Four. But 5 cuts. So what's something that you had to let go in life? Maybe vices or something else. Demons. What did I have to let go? That's the fun thing about letting it go, though. I hold no memory of what was, because if I hold on to that synaptic connection, that part of my brain that got me to worrying. Well, why am I worrying? Well, could I do something to mitigate that worry to stop? Yes. Is that like an action I can take? Yes. Then don't engage in that synaptic connection. That moment that that thought comes up, I have to change it to something else. So to go directly to what have I let go? That's really hard. Maybe the wording doesn't suit me and I'm a bit particular on my wording. Because in many cases of things that I probably would have moved away from, I wouldn't say that it's something that I had to let go of, but something I just no longer needed, something I've just moved past, and I don't hold on to those thoughts. So I think it's a wonderful question, and I've probably let go of a tremendous amount. Still, it's really hard. Because I think like all of us, you start out kind of ignorant and we just keep growing. Can we be ever aware of what we were? As once the butterfly becomes a caterpillar, it's not going to remember those days of how to move all of those feet. It's probably really just tripping out on the fact that it's flying now. He also has a Daisho dual sword style, right, guy? I'm thinking he has retired philosophy and less fighting style. You talking about Musashi? It's definitely water. It says it. Is it still on the desk? I need to get to work. And after all of these are cut, I need to get them all into the sun to start drying. That was a lesson I learned the first year I made them. I thought it'd be fine just to bind them all up and then put them into storage. They molded. It was beautiful. It was this beautiful white cloud mold of just, dry them for a few days. Fabulous. Seems wrong to waste even one. I see the sword? Though it's going to be a letdown. I'm just using this as a measuring stick. It's 32 inches. But there's this one. That's an eel knife. It's my kitchen knife, but it's the best one to cut what these are. And eel is one of my favorite dishes. Not that anyone asked. What are you making, sir? Thank you, Ralph. I am making cutting targets. So they're like tatami mats, but they're this, bound together, and then I'll go out to a field and put them on a stand and then cut them with swords or scythes or knives, or I'm hoping Wolverine claws. It's all to practice cutting, to see where my cutting is, to see how my cutting is. I guess specifically, I know that I can cut them, but I want to know how I cut them. And does the top piece that I've cut, does it fly off or does it stay in position? And I'm looking towards it to stay in position. That's what all of this is about. Yes, thank you, St. Clair? T, I'm going to call you T. Yeah, that would work, but then that would dry them in themselves. I'm just going to take advantage of the sun. I've got so much sun right now. But thank you for that. I should put them in somewhere where they're dehumidified. Humidity controlled. Let's try that English word. You can see the grass. So it's a reed grass. It's really awesome. Because it's... Oh, you can't... It's really hard to show you the three... There we go, kind of. That's what we're using. We've got cotton cord. And we're still missing a set of tweezers. We'll find them. Ooh, I like eel and exotic dishes. What do I think of escargot and sea urchins? So eel was one of the dishes when I was in Japan that was put in front of me. It's like, well, try this. And I fell in love with that dish. It was gorgeous. I had not got the chance of sea urchins, but I do run the rule. As a kid, my parents were always, you had the one bite rule. You had to have one bite of absolutely everything. You didn't have to have a second bite, but you'd had to at least try it. So I've not had sea urchin, but when I was in Japan at dinner with my teacher and his two good friends, they had pig's feet. Boiled pig's feet, and put that in front of me. Would you like to try that? And one bite rule, I took that pig's foot and I ate every bit of meat off of that foot and was thankful for it. I did not enjoy that at all. But escargot I thought was quite tasty. Cattail, rushes work well too. Anything tall and swampy works. Okay. This is just what I had available to me. This year I was planning on, I found a lot of tall grass in the field, so I thought I'll collect the seeds come August and get ready to plant in the fall so I can have a next year harvest. But then on one of my walks, I don't know, it's one of those things that I've walked by this for years and never really thought about it. And then as I'm thinking about it, it's like, that is absolutely perfect of it. And I have already so much healthy, well-seeded reeds. So I guess for anyone else that wants to take notes, swampy areas, tall grass, try to keep the impurities out. They make for good cutting targets. And as tatami is crazy in price for me these days. Wow, the sun is getting right on the right angle. Gonna have to find new shade. I've heard that parent rule before. I guess it helps make non-picky kids. I don't know. I thought it helped for me. I love to collect reeds and practice roof thatching one day on a little outhouse. The old term eavesdrops comes from someone who stabbed the thatch to make sure no one was hiding. Go for a thatched roof. That would be amazing. I think, that is gorgeous. I could talk about a community having to come together to collect all of these, let alone bring them up onto a roof, dry them, and prepare them. That, I guess that's why it was a community effort. But as a natural product to cover a roof, So good luck on doing that small house. I hope it goes well. Again, I'm just doing bunny ears here so I can come back later and tighten them if need be. You took touch grass to another level. Literally. I like that. Thank you. Xenon? X. Going to X. Only broken one so far. So are you going to wind them? I'm assuming you mean, am I going to like make them into the mats and weave them properly? No. That'd be nice. It would take so much more time. Let's say in years. That would be a fun goal to work toward. To actually weave them properly, make the nice mats, having be able to use the mats, and then cut them. It's just like a goal building session, apparently. Thank you, X. Souvenir. Do you feel there's a top one of they are the same usage level? Oh, I don't understand. Sorry, man. I don't get that question. Tolerance are a different level. Seeing like quality of tatami mats, of which like the best for like cutting. I'm gonna take that's what you mean and say that the level would be these ones. I think would be first because they're the easiest, but they're the ones that I've gotten that level 1 cut more often than not. I've never got a level cut on a tatami, so I'm saying this is the easiest. And then we're gonna go. I'm gonna go tatami. Then I'm gonna go the woven reeds, but like the real rustic weave, and then like a true tatami where they actually had the woven mats that were fine, that were rolled. They said those were the most highlighted. I don't have the right word for the reverence that was given to the tatami mats that were used to train on and then cut. Was it reverence because it made such a great cut, or was it reverence because they allowed for such great training? Or was it because they were so rolled upon, they were so crushed down, they were so thick and dense, it made it a true target? And then lastly would be that last one, cored with a fresh bamboo core. And that core was usually to represent an actual limb. A limb, that's a bad word. The bone of the limb. This being the meat. Shinobi Zoo, oh, missed it. Man just gave me a nickname because he could not pronounce my name. So hi, Chad IMAX now. And property of Elon. No, you now own all of his subsidiaries. That is your official name, and he can't take that. He just wants to use that name. You are X. It's just, we don't make the rules. We just have to follow them. Yes, I mentioned the level of usefulness of the different throwable weapons because I asked your stance on throwable blades. Oh. But it's like, I think I get lost in the fact of like throwable blades, like which purpose? There's just so many reasons you could throw blades, and I feel there's like a different reason for all of them. And that really just gets me off topic to the point that I've been working towards a beautiful throwing knife that performs and looks elegant. The best one I've come up with so far is a batarang. It is literally, I wanted a Batman throwing knife. This is a side story. I just thought it would be fun. I saw Batman Ninja. I made one, and it's the nicest throwing knife I've ever made. It sticks in both ends, all the different techniques. It's just carrying, it's a pain. That's all just to state, I think there's just so many different uses. I can't say there'd be one more than another when it comes to knife throwing. And that is all in the statement as I understood the question. I was talking about winding steel cables. Ooh, I like that. I say spear. No throwing pocket sand. Oh, come on, Gar of the Sand. No throwing pocket sand. I think that's a distract. Okay, we're gonna have to have a. I need more shade. I'd rather chance falling off the deck. Oh, and look at that. I can read the screen again. No throwing pocket. Artistic Batman. Yeah, the Batarang. Hey, just found your channel a few weeks ago, but enjoying your content. No one in particular. Thank you, particular. That's very kind of you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to make. This is Mr. Clean's uncle, Mr. Stain, developer fetcher. Souvenir, not the pocket sand. That stuff's nasty. I don't want to get that stuff in my eyes. But generally, projectiles are disposable, like arrow tips, and yes. Thank you, Souvenir. I'm kind of with you. That's definitely not my favorite, but yeah, the projectile stuff, the pocket sand, but being thrown away, everything. That's the ticket, though, isn't there? They are disposable. I don't like it. I don't like disposable, but I understand it has to be. And that was not straight at all. Okay, that one's definitely going to need a stand. No, that's an excuse, and a bad excuse at that. Better. Oh my God, caltrops being fired out of some type of cannon would be so dangerous. Yeah, that would be terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I've learned a lot about caltrops lately, and in every case, they are terrifying. In making them, I continually counted how many I had at any given time. And if I was down even one, all work stopped until that was found. Ooh. How embarrassing. I didn't clean my desk first. I bet that's how I lost my little knife. I've seen your newer build of the land spikes, and you told me about using rust and chicken poo for poisoning. There's some alternative methods like making tiny channels in the spikes to make them poisonous. Yeah, they're nasty tools. So we're talking about like the makibishi, or I call them tetsubishi because they are steel diamonds, but they're referred to normally as makibishi. And the idea that, like, historically, those were your protection. That was to aid in a getaway, but there's those that would have wanted to poison them, and what would have you used historically? And historically, as tetanus shots weren't around, just letting them rust, which meant that you just wouldn't have to polish them as much and to leave them outside. But there's old recipes. In one of the ninja books, they talk about spoiled oysters, chicken poo, and something else. I imagine the chicken poo kind of as a binder. It's quite nasty. Just anything that would get into those wounds and poison. Though ads for the makibishi, and some they talked about they would barb those tips. So if you were to step on one, as really you just pull it right out. It's like a small shuriken, but one's barbed. Now you're actually stopped. If you rip that thing out, you've now injured yourself. You're not going further. So you could make the argument it'd make more sense just to use a barbed one. Either case, I don't like the either idea. I'd rather just have them as just clean spikes that would slow down but not actually injure forevermore. They're nasty tools. But if you did put little cuts in them, it would mean that each one of those cuts, like little file marks, those areas would rust up quite quickly and be a place to hold that poison. Puck Alf, other dream I'd love to do is have to cut down my workshop to one day being a medieval smithy, wooden forge, stove kind of, and follows the battle maintenance force. That would be awesome. Why not? If you're in an environment making really whatever you can imagine, why not have it in a way that that's how you imagine that workshop to be? I'm with you. My workshop right now is a steel shed, and it is just death this time of year with the sun pouring down. I imagine something at this moment just has a lot more insulation. So even in the middle of summer, it'd be fun to work out there. Ah, thank you, Shelley. What am I drinking? I am drinking water. I do see the, and then adding doesn't really prove to a fact of what it is, but then if it was in a glass, it wouldn't be anymore, and it keeps the bugs out of it. But I feel like assuring you, it's just water will only push everyone in the other direction of course it's not water. Why would he say that? So it's gasoline. Thank you, Souvenir. Oh, you went to some fairs? I like the Renaissance fairs. I used to go to those as a booth and set up this wooden structure. It was great. Some of the comments was it looked like I just like did a ninja smoke bomb, and my little booth looked like it'd grown out of the ground. Those Ren fairs were really fun. Specifically the one where there was actual knights jousting. That was amazing. I don't think I spent a lot of time in the booth that year. Yesterday on the live, I made a comment that I would like to be able to cut in February to have harvested as much as I could. And by the end of the day, I felt I had not harvested near as much as I wanted. That I could have gone further, but the sun was just killing me at that point. And I'd gone through all my water. And now, yeah, I think I'll be able to cut in February and not have to just save up bales to cut in February. The knights of Europe with those swords, what were they tested against? What would, like, we know in feudal Japan, they would have used corpses. They would have used prisoners. They used, well, this is more modern. The old stuff were prisoners. What did Europe use? I've not done any research on that. But I know their swords cut through these mats just as equal. And they'd have just as many availability to reeds. I feel like that's a question for Reddit. Yeah, it is bad for work, isn't it? Wood dummies. Oh. And sacks. Oh, wood dummies, that's right. Their swords would have been able to take that abuse as well, wouldn't they? Wood dummy would go well against a wooden bokuto or a shinai. I need a wooden dummy. I watched a video of someone just, it wasn't so much a wooden dummy, but in essence, it was a wooden dummy covered with old tires. It would have smelled something terrible in the summer, but the idea of the little bit of bounce. A fun idea. He was using a steel sword, but for wooden swords, go away, Mr. Wasp. Go, go, go. Would be good for training, just to get that muscle memory of like hitting a punching bag. You'd like an anti-glare pad there. Yes, there is such a thing as fighting dogs, but it was a wonderful if ninjas had samurai use them. Fighting dogs? Are we talking still dummies or are we talking actual dogs? Because Isn't there? There's a samurai walking. There is a portrait. I don't know if it's on a screen door, but it is a samurai in Yoroi. I believe he is walking a cat, and I believe the cat is in armor, and I think this is a period piece. I don't think I made that up. I don't think that's just in my imagination. So if they were to use dogs, that wouldn't be too surprising, wouldn't it? A pit bull would be a good for that breed. They would hold the armor so well. If your sword is good, you can cut it clean. Yeah. And if your sword is good and if your technique is proper, your sword, of course, needs to be good, but without the proper technique, it's never going to work correctly. Oh my God, battle pets, please. Yeah. Oversized tiger for me, or rhinoceros. Both oversized. Battle pets. How is that not a cartoon? The days in the dojo, we would have cutting events on New Year's. Like, I guess then if we just wanted a cutting event. But it would mean that the whole dojo would get together with all of the mats on the floor and just bind away. It was good fun. And not just because we got to make a whole lot of mats in a very short period of time. But that was a great benefit. So many mats. The floor, we'd just start pretty much shoveling them aside as people would keep cutting. We didn't clear anything away. Part of it was the pile. How long will these take to dry? I imagine with this sun and it's awfully dry, maybe 4 or 5 days sitting beside the shop should do it. I'll just have to keep reversing them because I am binding them as tight as possible. As long as the majority of the moisture's out, and I'll keep them in an environment in the shop. The forge, on the other side of the forge, it stays quite dry in there, but it also gets quite cold in the winter. So that would slow down any extra problems. And I just have to come up with a method that I've got a pond. Never mind. My issue was, how am I going to soak these? Every once in a while, when you're about to use them, once they've gone really dry, you want to rehydrate them. It simultaneously makes them harder and easier to cut. It's a much nicer sound, but it strengthens everything. So when you cut into something, it has more resistance. It's not like they're dripping wet any longer. They're just damp. No. Yeah, just damp. They've done drip drying. Are we throwing spiders? Oh, not Australian spiders. No, that's what you fill the Mitsubishi with. Just Australian spiders. You know, just the common ones that every one of them is just so calm with. Like, as a people, what resourcefulness, what resilience. I think the world's most venomous spider is commonly found in the garages of Australian homes. There's a picture of that. It was said that Ninja would have tied snakes to the end of chains to throw at enemies. I get it. That'd be one pissed off snake swinging me around. What is this? We're at 6. Auspicious. Let's take that one back. on legs. Imagine someone just, oh, missed it. Have you taken any memorable treks anywhere? Me? Memorable treks anywhere. Happily, yeah, I have actually done a fair amount of traveling. Not a fair amount. As of recent, no. I got to spend in all 6 months in France running around different dojos, not speaking the language. That was a great adventure. Got to visit a lot of volcanoes. I think Japan still is my... No one's surprised by that, but I think Japan was still the most adventuresome. France was really easy in the sense that so many people were so well educated in English and they just switched over, which meant it was easy for day to day. In Japan, I found that really different. That was the adventure. I think like day 10, I was kind of starting to lose it because I didn't get to connect with anybody, but that really meant it was the adventure. Why is adventures like adversity? The next adventure, I want Germany and castles. I'm trying to keep these at a regular size, but I don't know how great a job I'm doing at it. Volcanoes, yeah. France is littered with volcanoes. They're no longer active, but the landscape, and one of the most memorable ones I got to visit, as it had been inactive for, geez, eons at this point, and it was now a lake. It filled up with water, so you could walk down into the crater and just know that this entire area was just water. It was stunning. I'd never seen before. I think any geological location that has a lot of, well, tectonic movement, that ring of fire, all that volcanic activity, that alone is an adventure. That's the earth still moving around and creating. I want to visit an active volcano, just to witness that power. And I mean, like, be able to wear the suit, walk right up to the edge, the kind where normal skin would just be in peril within seconds. Have you ever activated a volcano? No. No. But honestly, if that's what took me out and the volcano decided to go at that moment, so be it. That would be kind of epic. German style armor, Gothic on my fave armor. Oh, yeah. They knew how to form some steel. The Gothic armor, all that extra. This is the best words I have for the Gothic aspect of almost make it more difficult. This one's a little small. The next one I should make a little bigger though. I also need to make one that's just completely oversized. Just to measure, just cuz. Not to use through extra strength. We got another souvenir likes the Gothic. I think everyone does. Savant A, good morning. Shinobi with armor plates. 50 to stealth, nice. More difficult in flexing ways. Was making it more difficult in flexing ways. Yeah, making it more difficult, not just in the flexing ways. At that point, all of the armor was flexible and really quite movable. No, in the added, where they would add the extra fluting, then they would carve that fluting, and then they'd gild that fluting. And then I'm pretty sure the bluing would have been done before the gilding was done. But when you get into all the added steps that they started, it just made it so much more complicated, because you would need to do one step before another step before another step. And each one of those steps has that moment of you could screw the entire thing up. But they had such an understanding, and their customer base really knew what they wanted. It just made for just... I'm stumbling at using the word machinery, but when you look at how some of these things perform, it was like a biological machine. It just Didn't move on its own. Lost all of my glare again.
Ooh. Noses, yes. Wait, sir, sorry, I meant a flex is in the demonstration of statues of having this complicated suit. Oh, okay, yes, it also had that.
That was such a big part of the flex, not just of it being flexible, but how you wanted to stand out. That's poorly stated. There was many that wanted to make an impression, but not everyone wanted to stand out. Honda Tarakatsu. If you want to research a samurai of samurai, that even in the books, I think which book is it? There's a book somewhere where there's a samurai making talk of honorable, but it then mentions, then there's Tarakatsu. He is beyond what we stand for. This was a samurai who's known for his strength. He had giant antlers on his armor. Now he stood out, but I don't believe that he was there to stand out. He was just a man of presence. I think that's what many of them were going for, but few obtain. Does that make sense?
When you asked about sword test, I don't know what on the other hand, I guess bacon sides. Oh, bacon sides. I went about thinking about making bacon. Stop muskets. Oh, wow. Pocket. Oh, just like I said, it was a spear thrust souvenir. Oh, antlers. Yeah. Also check out Honda Tatakatsu. Just a great story.
Yeah, bacon sides. Cold Steel does a bunch of side. I did a test in one of the videos on how the teiko, the steel claws, can go into a target. And really, I really thought it was just going to slash across. I was wrong, and that hurt. But in finding out that, I realized that the teiko, if you just receive the attacks, it took nothing for the steel to penetrate into the meat. But then after all of these tests, I just had this $7 roast of pork left, and it felt wasteful until I realized my crows like meat. And now it's no longer wasteful. But I don't think I could give a whole bacon slab to it. But thank you for the idea just the same. It took me on a total tangent. I guess it's strange, but it's good to know how they work and why they work that way. It answers a question on how you move without knowing how something actually cuts or how something feels when cutting. Do you really know the stance? I make that statement with the statement of when blacksmithing. I can say time and time again, just imagine hitting steel with a hammer. But until you actually hit steel with a hammer, like red hot steel, I might as well explain to you what it feels like to drink a glass of water. You're never going to get it until you actually get it. Practice, practice, practice. Water break. This one is baby small. That's just a baby one. It'll still work nicely though. 7.
Egyptians had to do the same name. Egyptians had there and two same name. Oh, really? God, do you know about the Genos crossbowmen that trampled by their own? No, I don't know anything about being trampled by their own. That would be a war story. Water juice for use under tabbies. That's a good idea.
Nice axe. I will well protect it. And I will also learn to say your name properly, though you are now, from now, Axe. Xeno? It can't be Xeno. I don't know why it can't be Xeno. It's gonna take a while to clean. Oh, one idea. If you can work tatami. Oh, yep. Oh, I read all that. I'm up to date. Look at me go. To make the sandals, wonder what other reed projects can be made from this style of grass. Jeez, I don't even know. Yeah, grass. It's got to be a style of grass. Oh, it's going to be a nice one to cut. Do you hunt? I do not hunt. Are you making it? Yes. Nastia Venko. Yes, we are making tatami mats for cutting, for swords and other test things. I think really just for basic training and to see if I've got the proper edge on other items. Wondering, Walter, have an answer. Oh, hello from Arizona. I have family in Arizona right now. Well, they're always in Arizona, mind you. They're family. Yeah, but folding Damascus steel is kind of like working and building your own. It is. And I have some crazy steel. So I'm on an old farm. It was farmed up until I think like 70 years ago, but it was farmed of this area and it was the main farm. And there is old steel buried in awkward places that I keep finding. But in every case of old steel pile I come across, I found some really interesting stuff. And in testing it, it's been really nice steel. So my thought is I can take a mixture of these different steels and then do, in a sense, my own tamagane at the stage of when they're making the little wafers and then forge welding all that together. I can bring all mine down into little pieces so then I can get my own structure, my jihad in that steel. Because on that note, I have a piece of steel. I'm not too sure what it was for originally. It's really nice. It's really old. And it itself has its own jihad. Actually, it's this knife here. And if you can look at the back, it's polished just enough. You can see its own texture. So some of the steel is old enough that it was made by hand. And it has its own grain pattern, which is really just amazing. Gotta find my clippers. Sad that Damascus is so awesome, yet the actual metal sucks. Oh, okay, Gara, I know what you're saying, and in most cases, yeah, the metal does suck. But we have like a modern Damascus, which has a really weird like quotation around it, and then we have like true Damascus. And true Damascus is crazy strong unless you don't work it correctly. And that's a true Damascus is the crucible steel. And once that comes out, it has to go through multiple stages of heating and cooling and annealing that process and refining it. In refining it, you can get some really amazing steel. But if you're not amazing at it, and I think the word amazing is suited here, yeah, you can get some really crappy steel in Damascus. And that a lot of people even today will call, there's like, you can twist the steel and smash it down, and they will consider that a Damascus. And it's just not. Hot tip, folks. The higher the carbon in your steel when hardening, the sparks of a test grind will be a wider fan. Interesting. Oh, mechanic. In countries where guns are... Oh, I lost you. Get that. Oh, can I move this? I can. Look at that. I'm learning things every day. In the country where guns were illegal, you can rent out a group of Gopaniks, skinheads, and who'd use the women. 5 mad people who might have knives and other stuff that it might have. Oh.
Yeah, well, we don't like guns here too.
Isn't that a great question? I think that's a great question. What do you do? I think my first thing is like, what are you doing there in an alleyway that has like that going on? But then I used to live in an alleyway where that used to go on. So it's like, yeah, that's the world. Other than being incredibly smart, lucky, I shake my head. Chaos comes for all of us. That what do you do? I think the biggest thing is you're gonna have to have your eyes up. You're gonna have to be aware. We talked earlier of someone making sure that their hairpiece was sharp, that they knew what they had on them, that there's gonna be that preparedness. But in the end, we just don't know. And you might be as prepared to be and get cold cocked from behind because you didn't see it coming. The best I can give you would be my own understanding of I'm going to do the best with what I have and I'll control what I can control. But in the end, I do not have any control. I am an insignificant dot on a tiny planet on the offshoots of this galaxy. I will focus on what I can control, and that's these tatami mats and how well I can cut on them. Past that, I'm just going to do my best. I hope that answers it, but it kind of seems like a cop-out.
See ya, X. No, I don't consider the twist true Damascus because true Damascus has to have that grain
within the steel, and a twist only has that grain on the outside of that steel, and it's just a twist. I feel like if it's true wanting to like make a real grain pattern, you need the grains to compress and twist. When you look at the Japanese steel, those pictures, you see an elegance, a continuity, not a really bold repetition of pattern, though it is entirely repeated, but in each section it is its own fingerprint. So the twist is just too convenient. It's just not right. It's just not right. And if you want to do a twist, okay, let's say it is right. That twist needs to be forge welded each time. So it's got to be taken up to a tremendous heat and percussionally set into place. There's a way that you can cheat and you can heat up really hard and you can smush it. So yeah, that steel is together, but it's not bound. It's not welded together. The force of the steel keeps it in place. It's a minor difference, but it's enough that I can rant about.
The Japanese overfold their steel so much because the steel smelt is so non-homogeneous. It's poor steel when made, and the folding evens out the carbon. No, that is not. Thank you, Puck, but no, you're close. They fold that steel to knead it. That's like saying my dough for pizza is poor quality because I've had to knead it for so long. But I only ever have to knead it for so long enough. Their steel wasn't. It is semantics, and I think I know what you're saying, but it's not that it's poor quality. It's just that it's sand. It is of a quality that needs a tremendous more refinement than what other places have. So you need that kneading to get it all together, but then they're also specific to not over knead it to make it entirely homogeneous, so you lose that grain entirely. Though I know what you're saying, it's really good steel. Tamagane is amazing steel. When you combine multiple types of carbon levels, of course, to make a blade, I've helped smelt steel in the Tadara, dude, in the sand and charcoal. That's awesome. You're talking to the wrong. So you are a firm believer that Tamagane is a lower quality steel. Do you have any experience with the great kilt plaid? No.
The only plaid I have is the witches hunting. The witches? No, I don't even know the name. I only have one piece of plaid. Yeah, this is extra big. I like this. This is, no, it's on site.
I thought this was larger. When produced, the forging fixes.
Okay, so I misunderstood you then. Sorry. Yeah, the forging, that's where the magic, that all that clay comes in, all that extra material, so we don't lose the carbon in that initial. It's hard for communication when we don't have tonality.
Text is so easy to get confused. Hello, soul design. And medallion? Metrallion? That's why we shatter it. Find it this carbon levels and you recommend to fold it a lot. So left. Oh, I hate that you can be prepared for anything but still be caught off guard in a random situation. It hurts my feelings. Like, what did I train for?
Then what are you training for? So, O-sensei, the founder of Aikido, in one of his books, where it's not his books, his students have put this book together, and it was a sensei came back to the dojo and saying, I was defeated today. What? And he said, yeah, it's an old woman on the bus. One, it's a matter of, well, what are we preparing for? What do we want to be ready? What was O-sensei being ready for? I don't want to talk about that for the moment, but what you're stating is, if we're being prepared and we're being caught off guard, does that not just state that we need more preparing? We need more training. It's just a state of where we are. And we live in a world that, for the most part, we get to live. Sure. And sadly, there are many that do not get that ability. They had their chance and fate had its response. We don't know how many of that is going to apply to us and in what moment that will apply. So I think, don't be sad being caught off guard. Be happy that not only did you get caught off guard, you learned from it and you're still alive and you're going to go that much further and you're going to have that much more time. Hopefully never have to experience that again and have the foresight. But don't feel bad about it. I don't know, that's like studying math and saying, I got this wrong. It's like, well, you're studying math. You've just started this. It's about the growth. And in our case, wanting to survive.
Clam? McCam? Hello? I usually defeat with people riddles. Say something random and run away. I'm confused. Are ninjas still a thing these days? That's a great question. I think 5416, I agree with you. It is mindset. What the body does is just a distraction. It is the mind that is in control every single time. It's honorable to die as a warrior.
Yes. Yeah, you're only gonna get one chance at dying, and I sure as hell want to know that I'm standing up for something. I think this goes back to that in Canada, I'm not allowed certain weaponry, and I can be proud that I won't make it. I am the blacksmith. I am someone that can make every bit of it and would absolutely love to make and train with it, and that's why it's so important that I cannot. If I want to be anything about standing on my word and being someone I would want to talk to, I can't do that. That makes me feel happy. It overwhelms the sense of loss of not being able to be making it, the fact that I can stand up for it. So yeah, this mindset we all work towards, that's the power. How many blinding balls would it take to blind around 11 people wearing goggles? Well, fill them full of paint. Yes, staying alive is also honorable. Living with your honor is even better so. But I think if you're put in that position that either you're going to give up on your honor, that's the position we're speaking of. And none of us want to be in that position. Why should we? We're 2025. If we can't fill this with a conversation, we've got other things working against us. Edward, there's an opinion that modern monolithic steel is better than Damascus. My English is not good, but can lose speech communication about sorts of steel. That is a huge question. What is the conversation? Hello, Among Us. We're kind of going back and forth to like what makes weaponry, what is the mind, who is in control, and the one I keep going over, is there still ninja in the modern world? I don't know if I'm enough in the modern world to state that there is, but there's definitely those that are practicing the philosophy. They may not call themselves ninja, but they sure have a lot of that Power is not the right word, but it's the one I'm going with. But then also steel of modern steel, an O1 tool steel is an amazing steel. Oh, I don't have one with me. I work with it. It's got a really complicated heat treat. It's got a really complicated tempering process. It's hard to work. It holds a great edge, and it's one of my favorite knives. But does that compare to this knife that is an old steel? I found this in the ground, made a knife out of it, holds a stupid sharp edge, and in maybe essence just as hard to work as the O1, but didn't have near as complicated as the heat treating. I feel the question of what is the best steel is like, which is the best at the buffet? Well, did you just arrive, or are you finishing your meal and you're looking for dessert? Again, it's about perspective and what you're looking for. What is that moment? That an O1 tool steel is my favorite leather knife. I don't have to sharpen it that often, and it holds a tremendous edge and a fine point. But do I want that steel for a sword? I don't. Oh, we could argue anywhere in between. Would tungsten make a good weapon if it was easier to work with? Tungsten might make an amazing weapon just because it's so hard. Maybe something as blunt force, something that you know that is not going to give. Have I ever made an Arabian sword? No, the closest I've made is an Egyptian khopesh. That is the strongest curvature I've done so far. Yeah, Arabian swords are cool. They are just, I think, the ease of cutting because of that curve, and now you take the Arabian sword that has that tremendous curve on the outside. The ease of cutting to put that on an elevated surface, yeah, that is an awesome sword. And the steel work of those swords, oh, beyond anything I understand, really. Is it, oh, you have your favorite blade? Everyone's got to have a favorite blade. Yes, I have. It was an amazing khopesh. I made only two. And it had, and I need to revisit the khopesh, but it had the great hook, I say the proper angle because I'm specific and I really like that angle, but more so I had a scabbard, the beetle. It's not a scabbard. That's what you put a sword into. A scarab with open wings as the guard coming down into the handle. I thought it was gorgeous. I only made two of them, and I still have the blank, but I want to redo it all. But I like the geometry. See if that cuts, because bronze is quite hard to sharpen. What is your opinion on a cutlass? Oh, Shelley? Is that right? Yeah, Shelley. Well, one, I love all swords. So as a cutlass, that's the pirate sword. That's a navalman sword. Just told me I'm live. I'm aware I'm live. I'm the one live. Yeah, I like it. They're short, they're to the point, they can cut well, they're of a steel that you can block just as easily, and I think kept really sharp as like a wakizashi, a short sword. I think they're amazing. There's one I've had an eye on for a while. In other words, to reproduce. I feel I can take the, like, ninjutsu itself, like, historically falls under a very specific time period, but that time period does bring us up into the modern world. And in the modern world, we have like full communication with the rest of the world. So in essence, like, every weapon falls under the ninja's use because modern, which I feel that kind of gives me the role that I could make whatever I wanted, technically. Just may not be able to display it all the same way. Because I guess, as you haven't gathered, yeah, I'm a big fan of the cutlass. Thank you, Gara. Enjoy your afternoon. At least you get to go outdoors as well. Can I call myself an expert about ninja history? I don't know if it's right if I can call myself an expert about ninja history, but I think there's some sort, if you've read more than 12 or 15 books on any subject, you can at least consider yourself a certain level. And I have more than 30 books on the subject, but does that make me an expert? I guess that is a total, I don't know. No, I don't want to say expert. I'm someone that's still learning. I feel if I'm an expert, I already know everything, and I sure as hell don't know everything. So let's just go like Enthused practitioner.
Preferably with that tonality. Maryland, hello. I hope your day is nice there. Do I think I could 1 versus 1 and ninja? I'd try. Try everything once. May only be once, but why not? Oh, Souvenir, you're kind.
This is number 8, which we need to keep separate. Oh no, it was 7 we had to keep separate. I missed out on those. Eight. It's going to have a lot of fun. The idea of the... How do you throw a nakiri? Ooh, sorry, operator. I'm not too sure what a nakiri is. To me, it's something cutting. Gabriel Smith, I am making cutting mats. So yes, I am harvesting these for later use. So I'll be cutting these with swords later on, but once they're all dry. So I did a big harvest yesterday, and now I need to get them all bound and dry so I can put them in storage so they don't go all moldy. Yes, the horse has a name. I'm not too sure which one you looked at, but the black and white horse is called Ponyface, and the chestnut is called Izzy. Hidden blade is a shinobi zoo weapon. Oh, okay. A square knife, right? Shinobi means ninja, correct. Yeah, shinobi, old term. Me too, I want to try making them stick when they should have a reason to. Okay, so really, yeah, you can throw anything. If I were to throw this, it's a kitchen knife. It is not meant to be thrown. So if I want to throw it with spin, I need to, 1, know where my balance is, and then choose what distancing. That is implied that I know it's spin rotation for my throw, which we're just going to assume I do. From this distance to that wall, that's 1 spin. So I'm going to hold half spin, so I'm going to hold it by the blade. Or you can go for no spin. You're still going to have to learn your distancing, but you're going to back it up with your index finger. And the way that you throw it, it's a strange, it's like throwing a projectile. Again, it's like telling you how a drink of water is going to feel. And then it's just about practice. Everything has a balance. Everything can be thrown. It's just, is it going to have a balance worthy of its spin? This thing's great, but that handle's so chunky, it's going to throw that balance. So yes, I can get that to stick in, but in a very small area of motion. I hope that helps. Oh, I'm terrible at no spin as well. I don't even like no spin. It's all about rotation. My point is that the throwing objective is to create that opening to move in, and I know I need to practice it and get good, but that no spin, I just might as well herd cats. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. Hi from India. You're the winner. You're the furthest one away so far. Welcome. We're making cutting bales and talking about, I guess, mostly martial arts, but whatever we feel like. Because I am playing with grass. I have a bad way of judging time. I thought, just an hour or two, I'll have all these tied up. Just an hour or two. We're running on to 2 hours, and I'm not even done 10. Bye, everyone. Thank you for visiting 5416. What is the difference between a Hashin and ninja? I don't know. I'm going to stay, but this is my last moment. No one else a voice. Thank you. You keep training, and yeah, chime in whenever you're ready. Please answer. Hello. Nile? Oh, it's getting hot. I'm gonna have to move the setup again. Where's the next shade? And not falling off.
Hello, Nilly. I am answering as best as I can. Mod me, I'll kick that dude. He's trolling. Oh, is that what that means? Hey, Gage. Yeah, I do lives now. I do lives now.
Still working on English, but I do. It's a nice way because most of what I put together makes so much noise. I'd like to share what else is going on in the forge, but in many cases, it's either so loud or I need to be so focused so I don't melt a whole bunch of things.
Oh, you're right. That is totally trolling. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So thank you, Dalvi, but please stop. We're just trying to hang out here and ask questions and
Talk about things, and that kind of takes up the time. I think this is also the comparison of how long this needs to take me to bind all of these up
to how much more time I need to spend actually swinging my sword and practicing proper kata. Gage, it's cool to see takes the process video and get me organically. Thank you. Wing Chun is good if you run out of weapon. Yeah, Wing Chun is awesome. Just ground yourself, take over that center line, and just smooth everything to the side. Yeah, Wing Chun is great for that. Does using nunchaku form? Well, I'm sure there's a way. So, ooh, learning nunchaku? No, I'm sure there's someone on YouTube that'll give you a great lesson on basic nunchaku. Sadly, I am not that person. That is a flexible tool, and it's not on one of my lists I have to get really good at. No, but good luck to you. I would say at least just the basics.
Hold it at the edge. Oh, I guess I do have a little bit to rant on about nunchaku. That you can hold nunchaku, you've got your flexible, you can hold right beside the flexible for doing a lot of tricks. But for doing tricks, that means your effective range is only 14 to 18 inches away. But if you use that whole length, much like a hanbo now you've got a flexible tool that can get behind objects. And past being able to spin over the back, forward, backwards, and crosses, I got nothing, just basic. But if you can get those basics done in thousands of numbers, you're laughing.
Bruce Lee was my inspiration. Yeah, he was amazing. On so many levels, that man had just a beautiful mind. His technique was amazing, and his use of tools. Yes, please stop, Nally. Thank you. Urium. I love all these. I need to do ninja flashcards and learn. I don't know so many of these Japanese terms that you're using, though thank you for everyone continually to use these Japanese terms. I will learn them. Sadly, the urumi, I do not know. I probably love it, though. If it's sharp, I love it. How did you build this lifestyle of yours? Oh, did you inherit the farm, or how did you build it up? No, not an inheritance, not the building up, just blind ignorance and not wavering from what I was going to do.
That I have been working towards this, I don't know, probably since I was 7, but didn't really know that this is what it was going to be.
Thank you. Could I have a moment?
These horses always want to get their own words in. Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I could ever explain on each step that it took to get to this moment. And I'm definitely not at the end yet, but I'm in a great place of training.
Ninja flashcard, you up for that? Because yeah, ninja flashcards, if we can all study back and forth of going back to English, Japanese, and then the terminologies of the different tools, then it'll be so much easier. Natalie, please. I would get you to stop fully, but I don't know how to do those things, but I'm sadly going to have to look that up. Thank you, Renko. That's very handy. I'm just going to stare at the... Oh, look at that. Can I do that? No, I don't think that did anything. To ask, do you feel about love and are you alone on the land? Oh, that's a deep one.
What do I feel about love? How do I feel about love? How do I feel about love? It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's like a butterfly. Gorgeous to behold. But if you try to make it your own, it's always going to get away. Somehow there's not looking for it allows that butterfly to come to you. As far as I'll go on that subject, because I feel that's for each their own. If it's something that's in this timeline, great. But if it's not, I'm definitely not going to fuss about it. There's too many things to do, and I'm just going to live such a short life. I'm only here for like 100 years at best. Good question. One, I guess I don't have full answers for it, but I'm going to stick to my, you don't look for it. If it's not coming to you naturally, it's weird. I feel if you give it too much thought, too much movement towards it, it's no longer real. You've manipulated it somehow within your own mind of something that you want, not necessarily something that you actually need. I would think that time would be better spent in loving yourself and understanding who you are and becoming someone that you feel, someone that you would admire, would look towards. Yeah. Hello from Brazil. We're doing well with the world today. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. I thought that was a good analogy. Oh, I'm so full of myself. A Japanese hatchet. I need to make a Japanese hatchet. Okay, Neela, I figured out how to do this. You've been timed out for 5 minutes. Apparently that's something I had to do. I was hoping I never had to learn how to use these buttons, but I've had to. That worked for your analogy? Awesome. There was, what movie was it? It doesn't matter. That whole, be a target for someone that can look towards. Don't, you know, be yourself. Yes. Yeah, and apparently I can completely silence that account if I have to. I've learned something new again on this button. I think it was 2 lives ago, I wanted to ask a poll of the audience and then just blindly stared at the screen for like what felt like 10 minutes and I didn't learn anything. Oh, that was way too short. Gauge, wow, I wish I could understand that. X, I have a question about the horizontal stream. Yeah, go for it. Ignore the Hindu, my bad. Well, I can't ignore it. It looks awesome, and I have no clue what's going on. So, okay, I'll ignore it, but it's still great. Some good people in your chat. I do have really good people in my chat. Everyone here is awesome. Yeah, it's... So thank you to everyone. That's definitely not me. That's y'all, and it's great to share this kind of time with people that are, well, awesome. Because I really wouldn't want to spend time with people that aren't awesome. It's just not worth it. Must be to translate him. If you don't mind. Cheers from Poland. Thank you. And yeah, please translate. You were here yesterday. Thank you, 99 Blazer. Oh, so you see all these got collected. Yeah, so they're going to be giant cutting bales, which I don't know where I'm storing them yet, but that's not a problem for this moment. Oh, I don't truly understand it. I only use a translator. Haha. I'm trying to get through to Nalia. Thank you for trying to do that. It would have been nice to have shared a moment, but on a 5-minute snooze, I would gladly answer any questions, but we can't take it from everybody. What kind of craft says today is, I guess, not even weaving. Today is just getting ready for cutting. So I really like swordsmanship. And in swordsmanship, my favorite part is tamishigiri. Oh, that's a long story. In the eye, there's all of the movement, all of the proper, exacting, strenuous, gorgeous action. I'm a simpleton. I want to cut something in half. So I love EI, but I like my tamishigiri. That tells me if my technique is going towards something appropriate or I've been slacking. So that is today's craft. But really, today's craft is just a martial art practice that ends up with having to wrap a bunch of reeds. And also, I should figure out what style of reeds these are. It feels wrong to bind them all but not know their true name. You're welcome for my channel. Oh, you even know my name. It's been nice talking to you too. Is an Indian whip sword that's flexible blade like a spring steel? A whip sword? No, I've not heard of. I am already interested, and I will do some research into Arumi, an Indian whip steel. Oh, that culture with the pouring of the control of like the sand forges where they have these furnaces in the ground so well insulated and are able to control and pour steel. Not many cultures can pour steel well. Okay, no, I don't know anything about a sword steel whip, but that ignorance will be removed. Old clock springs. Belts. There's an anime character that wore, of course there is, that has a sword as a belt. But to think there's that type of steel that does not hold the memory. But a whip sword. A whip sword. I see that as Bleach had a scythe user. It was a sword that came apart. I don't think of its name, but it would move around as a flexible tool. What's that would need? It's got the flexibility, but you still have the control over that cutting angle. Oh, can I speak Japanese? I used to know almost 500 kanji, though I could never truly speak. Enough to get by in the dojo, but not enough to really do any real communication. Language is really tough. Though when I lived in the dojo, we had a Japanese instructor every Monday. I recently just talked to my old Japanese instructor. Oh, if it's not continually practiced, it's lost so easily. And sadly, I lost that as I did not keep practicing. Loaded question. Why is there so much effort where people can get so locked out of reality and move to more digital lifestyle and the fact that easier living? Why do you go so above and beyond? Yeah, why? That was a question the other day about why don't I have power tools? Why don't I do, when so things are, I don't like easy. I spent a lot of time building as a contractor, as an artist. They're like, oh, could we do this the easy way? It's like, no, we can't do this the easy way. Get someone else to do it if you want to do it the easy way. I'm not interested in doing the easy way. If I do it the easy way, I'm not learning anything, and maybe that's what it is. I'm gonna die one day, and I don't know when it's gonna be. I feel like I'm just gonna do something. That's not even it. I don't have that much foresight. It's just there's a part of me that does it this way, and if I fight it, I don't like easy. I don't like instant. I like something that takes work. I like something, that's where I see value. I guess how I feel that if money can buy something, it only has the value of that money. But if something is not worth buying, if something that is not for sale, what value does that have on it? And I find that intrinsic value is somehow more interesting. A Texan space agency. I don't know what you're doing here, but awesome. I hope you are doing well. Yeah, I'm doing awesome. I'm making cutting bales today for hopefully the rest of the year. So this is a great day. So I did a live, and everyone on here, including yourself, has been awesome. So yeah, kicking ass today. Thank you. Yeah, we do like to share. That's the awesome part. It all is. Would you be against the notion of it being a matter of pride? The bad way. It could very well be a matter of pride. But then I feel if it's a matter of pride, it should be, yeah, it very well could be.
I just feel if it was a matter of pride to be able to put words to it, something more understandable, something that I could even go, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. But when it comes to me of like, why do I do it this way? It just seems wrong not to. So I will be open to it. Very well could be pride.
Oh, thank you, Texas Space Agency. This is what I'm calling, these are my cutting bales. So I like swords, and more so I like cutting with swords. By making these bales, I get to cut them and get to see how well my technique is growing. It's just another way of practice. I think, in a sense, I can be a little jealous of archers. When you're an archer, you get to, you get to walk back and forth and get your arrows. And then you get to draw and breathe, and you see an effect every time. And it's not that with a sword cut, when I do my cuts, I don't see an effect, because I do, but the effect I feel the most is like, oh, am I holding my shoulders wrong? It's kind of sore. There's just that happiness to see all of that cutting drills to go, yeah, that actually looks right. Or more accurately, dude, why aren't you using your left hand with more grip? Did you see how that flew off? Fix that.
Oh, this one's gonna be a nice one. You are an archer? Well done, Gara. I do have a bow. Good for you. I should practice more. Traditional bows for life?
Yeah. I have a compound, and secretly, maybe that is pride. I don't like it. It holds all that energy for me. It's 65-pound bow, but it's only 65 pound in its force, and for that first bit of draw, and then I think it eases up to like 30, 35 pounds. Maybe it is pride.
Pocket sand, smooth operator. Thank you. Polly, I've done archery as well as dueling in more traditional weapons like sword and axe and buckler. Awesome. X. Just a happy dude.
X is a happy dude too, but I think you're talking about me. And with 5 sections, that means that I expect to get at least 5 cuts out of each one of these bales. And I cheat that when I go out there, if I feel that I kind of missed or did something wrong, I can always wrap another little bit to get that strength back again, to get more cuts out of the bales. I'm going to have to find a compost heap for these.
Too strong for me right now. I'm in physio. Ooh. Xeon, my father has forced me to learn boxing and guns for as long as I can remember, laugh aloud. But I really want to get into the traditional martial arts of Japan and China. It's so tough. You've had to be proficient in fighting in a style that you're not interested in fighting in. Well, at least you're going to have a good... Sorry, okay, Nolly, we're going to be polite, right? So back to Xeon. Yeah, that's tough. Though when you do get into what you want to train in, at least you'll have some background to come from. Because boxing, yeah, you're going to have great footwork. You're going to know those distancing, and jabbing is going to be a real issue for your opponents.
Is the string made by yourself? Thank you, Polly. I wish I was that cool. No, I bought this string. Isn't that terrible? String is so hard to make, and it is so valuable. No, I bought this string. The only thing I made sure it was biodegradable. Third time's the charm. And that's number 9. Hello, Barwad? I figured let me get closer to the screen. I can actually see it without the sun. Polly, I figured I've seen looms. Oh, to actually use this on a loom to actually make proper mats, that is the goal. X, so I've made, ooh. First thoughts. In my experience, heat treating can be both straightforward and more complicated than first thought. Yes. Heat treating can just change everything, doesn't it? Depending what you're heat treating, where you're heat training, what fuel you're heat training, what time of year you're heat training. On FYI, none of these piles look any smaller. 9 bales in. 2 hours. Do you think Eastern philosophers like Sun Tzu or Confucius were superior to those in the West like Socrates? No. No, it'd be hard really to compare the two other than just in the fact that they're both human philosophers. They came from such different areas and such different cultures that both equally important, but I don't think I would compare them by any means. They're both, and I'm biased. I really enjoyed Confucianism. I think that's great. Taoism is great fun. Zen is definitely where my heart lies. But Plato had they've all got such a great part. And combine them all, and it gives us, as those that read, that can time travel through the use of books, the ability to see multiple positions of thought upon the same subject. I think I officially have the ability to talk to... Ooh. I can't read my own language. You can't read your own language. That's amazing, though. You can still speak in it. Wow, language is amazing. I think I read that one. What's Taoism? Taoism is, how would you describe Taoism? That was the monks of Wudang. More of a philosophical, they have, You know what? I best leave that for you to discover on your own, looking up Taoism. T-O, Tao. It's a T that sounds like a D. That would be the best to explain that. I'm not going out on that branch. I don't know. I think most people here need to read a book before asking the question if they understand, but you can't just read one book. If you would be best to read no books to get an understanding of what Shinobi are, if you then only read one book. One book then gives you kind of the false understanding of what you understand without a plethora of information to come from. What if that one book were wrong? What if that one book missed important aspects? No, I think we just need to have an open mind to be able to understand what these things, and we have to have questions right from the very beginning, because if we're not willing to question something, it's probably not worth having. So I see what you're saying, savants, but no, I have to disagree with that. For more information, and now you're plugging him. Used to speak Japanese, lost the ability. Thinking about getting back into it, deeply complex. Yeah, go for it. It is so complex, but to have that other language, that way of thought opened, I guess I'm just not willing to give it that time. Millie doesn't know English. Okay, well, thank you for being here. Thank you, Polly. I'm sure you got lots to do. Thanks for being here for as long as you have. I hope you have a great day. Just think in a few more hours, I'm probably still standing here.
I like that. Thomas Jefferson saying, those who read no newspapers are better informed than those who do. Yeah, little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Hello, Gara. I thought you left, Gara. Didn't you have other things to do?
How did I get into making all this stuff? That's a great question. I guess it started with Shuko. And we were in class, and I think there was a Shuko seminar coming up. And it's like, okay, what are Shuko? And it's like, oh, he shows me a picture. It's like, oh, those are really cool. Like, who does anyone have a pair so we can see like how they feel and how much they weigh? It's like, no one has them. I was like, oh. And at that time I was traveling to Brock University, and near Brock University there was a little city center, and I was able to fix their forge, and they allowed me to play with it for a while because I fixed it. And I made my first set of Shuko, and I think that just started something.
So what I'm bundling right now is a type of reed. I have no more information than it's a type of reed, a type of grass. I just know that it's
substantial. It does not cut easily. So I think it's going to make really great cutting mats. And because the majority of them were already over like 32 inches, it's easy to get a 36-inch mat. I keep calling them mats, and that is not the right word. They are hay bales at best. But reed bales would be more accurate. Shelley's from Southern Ontario. Hello, Southern Ontario. I used to live in Southern Ontario. What?
Oh, you've ate. Good for you, Gara. I haven't bothered with that. I have water. X, you gas to be 32 inches. Oh, the Texan, if you're thinking about cutting mats, yeah. That I used to just bind grass because that's all I had and just made them thick. That
really anything you get a hold to and bind, do a great job. Give them a soak beforehand. Let them just drip dry. Once they get that moisture back, they separate much easier. But I think you'd have a good time with them. English is hard. English is very hard. It's got some stupid rules to it. Eating is hard. Being human is tough. Having to eat every single day, geez, can't I just bulk up at one point?
There are lots of historical documents about Shinobi actively. Shinobi and samurai, specialist Shinobi, martial arts, and jutsu. Friends and comments. Oh. Mixed results.
Agency? That's a shame. Well, I hope you can find something that will work for you. I'm taking kind of a leap. I'm just assuming all of this will work really well. I've not tested it, but that'd be kind of a shame if all of this was for naught. But I can't see that being the case. It cuts.
There's a thin line between research and doing random
BS. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine there's a very thin line. Just like the line between sanity and, well, insanity.
Razor thin. Don't use dry bones. No. I'm with you. The pool noodles,
they can work, but there's just too much movement, and yeah, they're just so wasteful. We have enough microplastics in this world. This is nice. Every bit of this just decomposes. And I'm sure Space Agency, you've also found that finding tatame mats are just crazily overpriced these days. Water bottles are, yeah, that's the same thing, isn't it? Just more plastic. Though they do at least give some,
I don't know what word that would be. Satisfaction. Pop bottles give us satisfaction. Ten. I don't think it's going to fall. But it still counts, and it will hold and cut.
10. We're doing well. The price of availability limits is prohibitive. Yeah, I'm with you. Prices bring new students to the academy. You just can't. To be able to offer for like $25, $30 per mat just to purchase it,
to bring someone in to have a test cut, which you still need to bind it, soak it, and present it in a place that they can cut safely. No, I'm with you. I hope you can find something natural in your area that would give you that same result. Because, yeah, if you can give students that first bit of actually cutting tatame, cutting bale, that experience when you're then explaining how you're moving with the sword or why you're cutting in this direction with that movement, it's like, oh, no, I get that. I know why I need that slight bit of pull to go through that cut.
How many items does a ninja usually carry?
Ooh, that would depend on the mission. What were you up to and what time period? Yeah, there's just so many possibilities, and then how many different tools, and then what area did you come to? It's a fun question. I'd say as many as you can carry without it just loading you down and being overly cumbersome, because that's when it comes down to that energy lost in carrying if you actually aren't going to need them. I'm a fan of carrying as much as physically possible.
It's
Handyman, yeah, Canada, eh?
I'm a Canadian.
A cat's tail. Yeah, that would be a good tool as well. Talking like the 9 cat's tail, that can be mean.
Especially if they're backed up with steel. Geisha refers to as ninja more often. Interesting. Gotta. We never switched over to plastic for convenience. It's bad for humans, for the earth, for anything. I'm with you. If we just kept plastic for like the medical profession and a few other things that make so much sense just
for being sterile, but for everything else to be taken over for the betterment of capitalism, yeah, it's not really done us humans much favors, has it? I had someone, when I first made cutting bales, a teacher, just use zip ties. Instead of, biodegradable string on something we're throwing out, no, use zip ties, because it was quicker, and the swords cut through them just as easily.
better living, though. Petroleum engineering and climate control. No, I've never met Hayes. Were there samurai bow schools that train warriors to swim in armor and shoot in position? Nippo is real art, but it's archaic. Yeah, it is archaic, but I think that's kind of the fun part of it. You're fighting in a system with armor and style that is not even relevant today.
But I'm not looking to get into any real fight or any complication. I'm looking to study an art and better myself and find out who I am through these abilities. Nothing like finding a really strong teacher and then standing in front of them having to perform a kata. You really understand where your confidence is in that moment. I think that's the important aspects. Archaic,
I think it just makes it more interesting. Swimming in armor would be amazing. I had my senpai in Nitenichiru. She also studied an archery form
that was based on not the kudo, not the okay, it's all pretty. Hers was in full armor, though I don't know if they ever took it swimming, but it was practice kneeling in that style. Oh, it's gorgeous. You're right, plastic has made things so much better, but like all things that make life better, we still need to control them. We can't allow them to take over everything just because it makes a few rich or makes some activities easy. I think in some cases, I'm talking about hardships, but hardships can be really important for the betterment because we can't get rid of plastic. We need that. The medical profession would not be the same without it, as with so many other industries, but we need to use it appropriately. I'm not giving back on my Advil. Did ninjas drink coffee? No, coffee was not, I don't think, even known in the system. There was a documentary about, I think it was Nestle, of a company. I won't say what company it was because I don't remember what company, but that was trying to get coffee into Japan after World War II. So I don't think it was well in that. Was Jesus a ninja? Was he? In the gospel, according to the Biff, it travels to the Far East. Well, he did like perseverance. Xeon? No, Jesus was not a ninja. Interesting. Yes, nevertheless, if you can do it, it's an amazing feat.
If you can do it, that's about getting it done though. And I'm just slacking off. I haven't tied a knot in more than 2 minutes. It is nice to see, though, Buddhism in many different forms of teaching. It's that sharing of knowledge. We need more sharing of knowledge, don't we? More people, more study, more questions. And humans looking after other humans. That would be nice as well. This nonsense that we're all different. It's a strange phenomenon. Shelley, I've had a rough week, and watching you in this live stream has been the highlight, so thank you. The mental health boost. Thank you, Shelley. I'm sorry that you've had a bad week, but keep kicking ass and keep going, because, yeah, if you want to make it better, it's going to be better. So awesome for hanging out with us. And thank you for sharing. That alone probably isn't that easy. You're not alone. There's a Nimpo curse, more studying, more knowledge, but take alien techniques to understand Nimpo forever. Isn't that the truth? It would take forever to understand everything, and we can't live forever. Might as well just keep studying. Is it the point to understand it, or is it the point to study it? To what action are we looking? Like Jerry rig everything. He didn't break stuff. He looked like Jerry rig.
But isn't that it? I want to understand the world as best I can. But I, as myself, can't understand everything. I wouldn't have enough time. I can only understand what I can understand, which may be my pursuit of studying and understanding everything. But I have to know that even giving every moment of my life, I could not do so. It's not to say that I'm not, or that I not want to. Hello from Iran? Geez, we're seeing the whole world today. Hello. Texan Space, yes, you may ask where I am. I am in Nova Scotia. I am in pretty much the most southern area of Nova Scotia, clearly placed in the middle of nowhere, or accurately just outside of it. It's really great and quite quiet. Masood, hello. Thank you. You'll sigh. Up everything we can grasp. That does make sense? That's awesome. Thank you for your activity. It's motivating for study. Thank you. You're doing jiu-jitsu. Hell yeah. Keep going. Jiu-jitsu is really great. Lots of twists. Make everyone say, ah. Nova Scotia in the Navy and speak all the time in Halifax. It's a beautiful province. It's something I could have never imagined. Hello from the UK. Yeah, the world is just coming out. This is awesome. What was the most recent thing I've made in the forge? Actually, the latest video was on makibishi, and that is, what do you call it? Caltrops, little metal devices that you'd throw on the ground. So that was this past week's latest forging. I'd never made them before, so not only did I get to learn a lot, it completely changed how I looked at that tool and how that tool can be used. It's been a good week. That's 11. I think that alone, if I just did one a week, would get me to February. From India? Don't approach me, I'm afraid. I am from India, please. UK man, don't approach me. Okay. Where was it? Those looking hella painful. Oh, that's awesome. I feel like I'm in a tree. No, I'm on a deck that just happens to be right beside a tree that gives me great shade for the day. So it's just an optimal place for me to work outside, but not burn to death. Yeah, where is Nyla? I think she's being very respectful. That's really nice because the 5 minute ended. She said hello again and then something that I didn't understand. That's awesome. How many reads do I have left, Shelly? I have, how do you measure this? I have 2 bundles like this. I have a lot, much more than I thought I would need, but I will cut every one of them. That's be used for impaling souls of your target. Yeah, they can be used for impaling to slow people to pursue, but because of the way that they're designed, the little makibishi, you could stick them indoors to hold them closed. You can throw them at your adversaries, or you could also throw them into the ground to change on how you would interact with them. And or, which I did later on, you can tie them to different things just to change that use and treat them more like a flexible tool. Nile is a dude, I guess. Oh, I apologize. I'm so great with understanding language. Nathan, hello. Yes, this is live on. I'm just standing at the desk now, not doing anything. We are making cutting bales today. So that said, if I'm making them, I should be actually working towards that. These were all harvested yesterday's live. So today I thought it was appropriate we start putting them together. I was hoping to have enough to make it till February. That's not going to be a problem. As I go now, I can like double up each week of how many get cut. Ooh, multitasker. What is my take on the rapier? I love the rapier. The rapier is not only absolutely gorgeous, usually 39 inches. You've got a tremendous reach on this tiny little super sharp. Some had really strong edges, but the majority, they were just sharp edges with that amount of spring steel and force, and needing only that moment, that tiny little point to become between you and your target. I think our rapier is gorgeous. I think treating it like a spear, in a sense, waiting for someone to come in and enter into that target. You might not even feel it if you're really, yeah, so I like most all swords, but the rapier is definitely high on that list.
Nah, Nilai means blue. You want a rapier?
Yeah, I want a rapier. I want to make my rapier, though.
Of course I do.
With a really nice basket hilt. The Spanish cup hilts are nice, but they're just, they don't have the same zhuzh. Yeah, that's a special word, zhuzh, as the, and basket hilt's not the right word either, because that makes me think of the Scottish broadsword. But they would encapsulate the hand with most intricate metalwork. Yeah, let's call it that, intricate metalwork. I'm looking to make these roughly 4 inches, but I've stopped measuring probably like 7
Bales ago. You grew up with the princess braid. Let's try that English word again. You grew up with the princess blade. So rapier's your favorite.
Yeah. He uses the rapier really well in that movie. Oh, what an elegant tool.
Thoughts on the claymore? Do you think the size was more of intimidation than functional?
Ooh, fun. I love the claymore. Oh my God, I'm just so biased. It does have a large size, but I think like the grass choppers, they're going to move people back. It still was incredibly well made. You'd have that much more of a reach for it, though you'd have to be that much stronger, though in reality, they didn't weigh an incredible amount of weight, though still quite heavy for heavy swords. I like them. I feel, I guess honestly, I'd want to be bigger. That's a lot of sword to hold, and to think that I would be taking in damage, like receiving blows with such a blade. But I like it.
It definitely takes a specific style. The gauntlet sword. Oh, I don't like them. I thought I would love the gauntlet sword.
How could I not love something that is based on my own ergonomics that comes out? I'm assuming this is what you mean, like a gauntlet sword. But then when you think about it, it's a lot of movement for very little change in momentum. I don't get the dynamic movement with the gauntlet sword. Having 2 of them with a specific style, I'd want to have like backup team members that also, like gladiator wise, have different abilities. Going back to the sword and the shield, I'm going to be really offense with this. Not a big fan, though I think it's a really fun idea.
I'm talking about makibishi, of course. Oh, did I get that wrong? Or big swords like they were apparently used to keep people back. Yeah, keep people back. Though it said the Zweihanders, the German forces that use these great swords, that they kept people back, but they would also charge those people. They had such use of these blades. I think strong slashing power. It's not a big fan of the gauntlet sword, but it's awesome. Cavalry weapons.
Yeah, if you're up on a horse, that advantage of having that height and that power behind you, you've got that weight of the horse moving forward into the tip of that sword. Use that correctly. Then we've got to find all the weapons that work for us. Who are we fighting? How are we fighting them? And what is our preferred method of fighting? So then one works best. To say what is best, oh, it's so independent of the individual.
Like Fingerprints, Shogun Assassin. It's a good movie. Knight versus Samurai. Who wins?
The most prepared of that day. I think I could ever say one word over a samurai and a knight. We've got such different. They get thrown into one. Oh. Yeah, that's just a question of chance. I might as well roll a die and get a question of who would win that battle. Like what sort? Like we've got a spearman. Is the samurai got all of his weaponry behind him? Are they both on horses? What armor counter? I'm putting the knight in full articulated 17th century. Keep them time period the same. Oh, it'd be an interesting battle. It's a different level of tech, and that tech has to be fought. And in this case, neither would really have an understanding of what the other's tech is. So it would be the beginning of kind of probing where the openings will be and how you can best defeat them. Depending on that armor of that time period, like a European armor, there was no openings. Each portion clicked onto another portion. Now, in some cases, range of motion was minimized slightly. But unless you're getting into an eye hole,
there wasn't any. You'd have to be really quite skilled. Who's late? Who needs to go to sleep? And they're physically stronger and stronger. Yeah, but strength can work against you as well. A lot of people have to fight bigger targets. Strength can work against you, and you can use strength against them. Ultras, thank you for visiting. Enjoy your day. Well, check out my channel for the latest Makubishi, and the fighting with them will be on Tuesday. Longsword is better for fighting someone with armor. I like to keep everyone away, and yes, I do love the odachi. It's gorgeous. That there's techniques of the people that are drawing these odachis from their belts and having to get such a. Of course, it's not a sword that you use drawing from your belt, but in the fact of using them, I think is amazing. But I think I get lost more on the fact of how much energy it took to make the odachi, just to be able to hold that much steel in the forge, taking it out, using it on the anvil, just that creation, that art alone. And I think that's why many of these swords I find so appealing, because the blacksmithing of it, the artistic making, that endeavor has to follow so many rules just to function. Pardon me. As a rapier, if that rapier steel, if that doesn't bend and come back again, that blade's useless. But at the same point, that blade has to be sharp. It has to hold that point. It too must walk a razor's edge. So all of these tools of human make, the making is just as important, or at least just as interesting. Okay, X, thank you for visiting. I hope you have a great sleep. I'll learn how to pronounce your name, but I think from now on, you will be known as X. The Olympic saber fencing,
They are effective. Rather the pirates. Don't know what other tool is going to come out in their use. And from what nationality. I think that's what makes it so appealing of a question. You're fighting a pirate. What weapon would they even be using at the table? Depending where they're coming from. Hello from Spain. We were just talking about Spanish swords. Well, we've just a couple minutes ago.
but thank you for visiting. Cortez, I got to get rid of the glare. I can't see so well, but thank you for saying hello and hello back. Nice. Also, we're trained in unarmed fencing. They were trained in multiple ways, and these were people that had a livelihood that allowed them to give more time to their training, unlike so many of the foot soldiers that just kind of had to make it up as they go. When it was a position of study, it meant you were going to be dangerous, like trying to go against the Spartans. There's a museum in Japan. I want to go to a museum in Japan. It's a 12-foot sword. I've not been to that museum of that 12-foot odachi, but I know the one you speak of, and I've seen many pictures of it. What were his apprentices doing that day? I have so many questions about how that was put together, and it's such a phenomenal piece. And I bet if you were to hold that and look straight down that edge, it's just arrow straight. Thank you, Sanchez. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day. We're making, well, cutting bales. I'm talking right now, but it is leg making. Hello from Canada. Hey, chats. I'm in Canada, so hello to you from Canada. Oh, in the Iga Museum. I must have missed that. I went to a museum in Nagano Prefecture. I don't remember the name anymore, but it did not have a giant odachi, so definitely not that one. There's a video when Gaboda Master strikes against the replica of a rapier, and he said, it's really, yeah. You like the touch?
That's a big curve. I used to train with a guy that made his bokuto like a touch. He just loved it. That was for him. So I understand that love of drawing towards a sword like this is for me. I don't remember what number this is now.
Master used a replica of a katana against a replica of a rapier. That'd be funny. What outcomes would that be of two swords that aren't really meant for that? God of the Sand, my name is Matthew. I would be staying till the end. That's how you train mental fortitude. Thank you, Zion. I'm glad you enjoyed the content.
It's going well. Hopefully we'll see you back again another day. Let's get one more. One more. It's always just one more. Just never ends in such a great way, but
Fazian. Or X. Battle where samurai fought against the Spanish with a katana and
rapiers? I've never heard of that. That would be epic. Now that would be an interesting battle of those two swords to go together. The katana versus the rapier. Again, without having any pre-knowledge. Here's the question.
Oh, we get a pronunciation. There we go. Zion? An ion in chemistry. Zion? Zion. Like Zion. Oh, I can't pronounce anything. Yeah, it's just, I think we're 12 feet up in the air.
It's nice because the bugs are out, but being just that little bit higher and hiding under the tree.
Yeah, it's behind the tree. Gives me the shadow. Different swords, rapiers can stab long distance, but you can't chop. Yeah.
But that's the fun part of it. Like, the katana you can stab with, but it cuts far superior. And the rapier you stab with, but you can cut with it. To have these both interact, and both finding those holes in the other's offense, it's just so different.
That would be.
Small swords are, all swords are amazing, but the short swords, those short, small areas. Ooh, we got a Teiko Kage fan. Yeah. It's a great weapon against swords. Though that Teiko, it's got to have a way to capture those blades. I have a thing for capturing blades. Nothing scares a swordsman more than grabbing hold of their blade and not letting go.
Oh, really? 20 pirates versus 42. That'd be a fun story. Attack helicopters versus samurai.
I think that's going to be a little one-sided, but as long as it's a simulation, I'd watch it. Supposed to be gentle with the string, just gentle. Do I have videos on ninja sneaking techniques? Almost lost it. I'm working on a video right now with the first walking technique. But no, I don't have anything with, which really, the sneaking technique is, you can, what is it? The Nightingale floors, which was a floor that allowed a squeak to happen when you walked across it. A way of defeating that squeak was to allow it to squeak really slowly. So that is in essence how you would sneak really slowly, is not only your walk, but how you transfer that energy. Your weight is always in control. And as those floors squeaked quite aggressively, if you slowly, really slowly transfer your energy, you bring it down really quietly. It's still going to make noise, but a whole lot less than the actual squeak. So that statement is, to be quiet, you first need to understand your own balance. So if you want to learn to sneak quietly, get really good at standing on one foot. Bend down the sun.
Samurai still used pole weapons for most
Fights, yeah. Well, why wouldn't you keep them at a distance? Don't let them get close to the other weapons. But if you need to, for sure. You think a lot of those pole arms were, today our practice ones, maybe 6-7 feet. But back in the day, we've got records 11 to 13 feet. They were keeping that at a distance. Actually, I think there's a competition still in Japan today where they're dressed in full armor with the long pole arms. Grimo Lantern, nice seeing you. We are, I think this is number 12. I think this is number 12. That one worked nice. Okay, let's do Fibonacci. Let's do one more, and then I need a food break.
So we'll have a break. What, we're at 3 hours at 12 of them. It takes a while. Okay, let's do one more. Bingo. Overtime. Knights use polearms and halberds commonly. Were there any two-handed wakasashis? Actually, they say that there were a few, that they were usually carried in longer scabbards, though,
to make it look like that wakizashi was a full-length sword. And then there was a school that used very similar ninjato. They had short blades, 32 inches, 30 inches, but absurdly long handles. So I imagine if you dig long enough, yeah, you would find representation of a double-handed wakizashi. Though I can't say I've seen it directly. With the amount of variations that you've seen through the times, there's got to be one. There's no difference in either pile that I take. It's just if I take from each side, it looks like neither of them are going down.
Back 5460, and I'm glad to have you back. And we've got some hiragana. I'm sorry, I no longer can read that. How effective are the Wolverine claws you made? Would they be good in battle? No, they wouldn't. They would be great.
They're awesome looking, and they would be great psychological tool. But for actually fighting, I've got to rely on thrusting. Can be kind of dangerous. I need the attacker to kind of come to me. And the worst part is, like, one blade means you get all that force going into that one blade. But then when you've backed up, as the Wolverine claws are 3 blades, and they all come to the same surface at the same time, it doesn't make it as efficient. But as just a single one-on-one close range fighting tool, I would like to think it's got a lot of ability, but I'm still, I hesitate because I want to feel how it's going to cut. The hand part is not finished yet, so I've not had a test. So right now I'm kind of on the fence. It's a terrible answer.
So maybe. Are they just as scare weapons? Not effective, but scary. That kind of can be a weapon, can't it? Something that is just scary will move people along.
That I think the argument I can make of this being a self-defense tool, though I find this is an attack knife. There's nothing self-defense about it. If this knife is being employed into a fight, it's doing nasty damage just with how it's designed. But then could I not make the very same argument that this is a self-defense tool, because just looking at it should let the informed mind know, I don't want any part in that. That knife is dangerous. So where does it fit?
You want to train, but can't be said for my...
Oh, that's really tough. If you can't train because of... That's really weird, right? You're not supposed to gain information. We should always be able to gain information. It's a little scary. Foot-green claws. Oh, that's a great... Yeah, that will come. Because Ashiko have... Well, Ashiko are. Shuko have Ashiko, like a family member for the foot. So why wouldn't Tekage also have some sort of family member for the foot? Some sort of claw that doesn't hinder movement. The Ashiko definitely hinder movement. Can I run in them? Yes. Is it comfortable? No. I would like a Tekage that goes on the foot that I could run in and say, you know what, it's actually comfortable. The only part that I don't enjoy is the running. I don't like running.
Do you know about the blue? No. Thank you, Savant. You're answering. You're great. Everyone's great here. The cramp was originally a farm. Yes, the cramp was a farming tool, and as it didn't have a scythe, that's why I used that one.
That was the closest to a scythe that I had. Though I noticed the fighting ones all have ergonomic, and the farming ones were all quite straight-handed. And I went with the ergonomic design because I was replicating a fighting knife. And now I want to replicate a farming crambit because that thing was amazing. And that little ring that I can, and then just drop it to do what I have to do to then get back to cutting again. You don't have to put the knife down. It saves a lot of time. When you're stuck in the sun, every second counts.
how long a chain cramp it could be.
Yeah, you could do it. I think there's the Ninja Assassin movie that has a very similar knife to a crambit on the end of a chain. A part of me wants to immediately say, well, it'd be so hard to control, but yeah, it would. And with enough practice, you can control most anything. So I think that would be really nasty. So 3 feet to 12 feet, I think past 12 feet, it's too long. It opens up too much of a window and there's less control of getting back the tool. So 3 to 12 feet. But I think that's just kind of a staple of all of those things. My personal understanding, 3 to 12 feet is where I'm comfortable. Past 12 feet, uncomfortable. Less than 3 feet, it's too close to me. I got better tools for that.
So I'll get the sandals. I won't get the sandals. That's on steel cube attached to a chain.
I think that's an awesome idea. I think a steel tube, a steel cube attached to the chain is terrifying because one, you've got all of that energy having centrifugal force powering it, but now you have all of these sharp edges on a blunt force trauma tool. That's just danger on top of danger. So yeah, I like it. That's I wouldn't want to go against a meteor hammer anyways. With someone that clearly knows what they're doing, that's just so much energy. But of course, you got to train against it. And square corners make it that much more dangerous. It would be a lovely blunt weapon. It's Fibonacci. It's got to stand. Happy. That is 13.
Oh, we've done it. And there's probably only another 30 more to go. Thank you, Edward. The legendary frying pan is the best weapon. Yeah, definitely the most iconic. Well, thank you everyone that showed up today. This has been a good time. I think it's time for me to go spend a little time in the shade, or more shaded. And I will talk to everyone. Well, I won't talk to you directly. You know how this goes. I think it's been too much time in the sun. Goodbye, all. Savants, everyone, good training.